Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. After analyzing carefully the statement from James Orengo, a statement which he issued in front of William RUTO, I realized that looking at the body language of William Samoei Ruto, it's as if he wished that day would just end like that without even, Orengo continuing the statements. Because if you look at the statement that came from James Orengo, who's the governor of Siaya County,
we can say many things. And me, I cannot be praise singing because we fought for a democratic constitution where people should talk, where people should talk, where people should talk.
James Orengo was delivering blows to William Samoei Ruto, or blows you could call low blows, simply because of the government. Most likely, looking at the manner in which Orengo was delivering that statement, it's as if he was not happy with the manner in which some of the CSS whom ODM donated to the Kenya Kwanza were being treated. The mistreatment did not sit well with Orengo. Okay, of course, I could see that same argument from Wajakoya, who delivered a direct statement to Ruto to contain Farouk Kibet or face the music. So in this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to go to James Orengo's statement. There's a video, this video, for those of you who never got the opportunity to watch the video, allow me to share it here so that you get to understand what really Orengo said there. But before you do that, kindly like this video, subscribe to this channel, and to existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Now, this is what Orengo told William Samoei Ruto.
What am I trying to say? And you have said it before at one time, that the weaponization of the criminal justice system should stop. The police should not be used to make up trumped up charges. This young man at that time, he was in prison for 9 months on trumped up charges because he was a freedom fighter, and that's why he was being arrested and charged with the offense of murder. And I thank God that policeman, he wrote a statement in English, but somebody wrote it for him, and then when he was being questioned in court, he said no, he didn't know. There was a time when Jaramogi was called upon to go and give a statement at the CID concerning the death of Julie Ward. I think, RAILA, you remember this because there's a young man who had gone into exile and had talked to Jaramogi. And Jaramogi made a statement. Instead of investigating that case, they now called Jaramogi to make the statement. And it was not an easy time at that time. So what I'm trying to say, let us build a society which is based on the Constitution and the rule of law. We can say many things. And me, I cannot be praise singing because we fought for a democratic constitution where people should talk, where people should talk, where people should talk. I was in parliament when people used to tell Moi that Moi hakuna mahali utaenda, you will be in power until the day you want to go. They told Moi, and I was in parliament at that time, there are only a few of us who said we cannot have this system of government. And RAILA was the head at that time when Jaramogi had died, that we do not want that system of government. So I am asking you Kenyans, this constitution that we fought for, it is a very difficult document to keep. And if you keep on, song praising all the time, we will not have a country. So I urge you, tell your leaders the truth.
Now, Orengo has reminded William Samoei Ruto about the history, the struggles, how they ended up saving the country from dictatorship of the Moi regime. For those of you who were there during Moi's reign, you know what really happened back then. Kenyans would not be allowed to speak freely. That freedom of speech was curtailed completely. But again, if you go back to the history, you are told that Moi was not much of a dictator when he took over. This uh, this dictatorship started somewhere there around 1983, 84, 85 there. That is when Moi realized that he could be ousted. So what happened? Moi decided to now start ruling with an iron fist. That's why you find that there were multiple arrests. And you heard about the story of Ouko. You heard about so many unfortunate stories which Kenyans waliamua kusahau, kuanza afresh. But back then, we are told that you could not be allowed to exercise your freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Anytime you said anything that touched on the government, you would be arrested. So that is a history that we have, ladies and gentlemen. And Orengo is one of those leaders who were there back then. They fought for this liberation, the freedom of speech. That is why we should go back to the history. When you look at the struggles for democracy, the struggles for freedom of expression, Orengo's name will always surface there. Of course, Raila's name will never miss in such an argument. There are so many people. There are people like Koigi Wamwere also. Their names will not miss, because I remember with Koigi Wamwere's case, he had some dreadlocks. So then he said that the moment Moi would leave power, then he was going to, shave those dreadlocks. And that is what he did, Koigi Wamwere. That was a promise he had made to Kenyans that kwamba Moi ile siku atatoka tu kwa power, yeye atanyoa zile dreadlocks zote, and he did that. So those are some of the things that are telling you that back then kulikuwa sio kwema. We all remember the arrests of Raila Amolo Odinga and how he escaped, I don't know, into Uganda and then to a foreign country. You remember that story? Wakati huo alikuwa ni kama kuna kitu kifanyike, lakini akaepeshwa na mambo mengine. So all these are trying to tell us that back then mambo yalikuwa sio mazuri vile. And RUTO is being told that Kenya cannot go back to those days where mambo hayakuwa mazuri. A single ngwe would lead you to prison. In fact, it was to Nyayo House, not even prison. So what this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that Orengo, despite the fact that he is in ODM, and ODM has an MOU with William Ruto, Orengo was not going to toe the line and simply be a member of a choir master. That's why he's telling William Ruto, I cannot be a member of a choir master. Take note of this. Rigathi at one particular time told us that some of those politicians around the president are simply choir masters. I mean, they're just members of a choir. They just sing to the tune ambayo imewekwa pale. Kama the tune direction ni all of them will follow that direction without saying a word, a word of rejection. So, and Rigathi told us that he's one of those people who used to oppose the president, him and Justin Muturi, and that explains why Orengo is saying that he cannot be a member of a choir, and this message, mind you, was being delivered in front of Ruto and Raila. So this game plan of ODM ndio kidogo inashtua watu. People want to believe that they are in the broad-based government, but other people want to believe that there's some kind of game that is being played here. I personally look at this whole thing as if kuna game inachezwa hapa, and this game will not work to the advantage of William Ruto. He game. Because look at the stand of Sifuna. Look at the stand of James Orengo. Orengo and Sifuna are Raila Amolo Odinga's diehards. That's why you find that Orengo huwa meetings za Raila zote anaenda because he's the SG of ODM. But you see, of course, Ruto told him that, look here, we are the founders of ODM. If you persist, if you continue with your attacks, then we might organize a meeting of the founders na tukutoe. That was a very bold message to Edwin Sifuna. But we're going to talk about that in another analysis. So in this analysis, our focus is on choir, member of a choir. Orengo amesema hawezi kuwa member of a choir, ile choir ya State House choir, State House choir, choir ambayo inasema yes yes to the president. Wajua, now let me take you back to Moi again. See, we have to make a reference to Moi's rule, because before this constitution 2010 we had another constitution, ile ya wakoloni. That katiba, ladies and gentlemen, that katiba ilikuwa inapatia kwamba wewe mbunge, ikiwa unataka maendeleo area yako, because we didn't have counties, wewe mbunge, kwa sababu unataka maendeleo area yako, inakubidi uende State House ukacheze. What people used to say that you dance for Moi. Then when you dance for Moi, if you please him, it comes to your constituency development here. That is why you find that there was struggle to have Majimbo. And one of the leaders who fought for Majimbo is RAILA Odinga. There are so many, Martin Shikuku, so many people. But RAILA made sure that this agenda was delivered. Just take a look at this. That Katiba, if you didn't have counties, now we have a president. Maybe any other president who is biased. It could be a president from Isiolo, someone from Taita, someone from Mijikenda, someone from Luo, someone from the Kikuyu, from the Kisii, from the Luya, from any tribe. Then he is the president. And then we are confronted with the reality about Konao Sai. Do you think that person hange favor those regions about them oppose? Definitely hange favor. So that's why the counties come on board. Counties inapoa pesa kuendeleza region yao. So whether you are in the government or in the opposition, utaendeleza region yako. You see? There are people who argue that, let's say for example, Ukambani, someone like Kalonzo Musyoka was the president point man in Ukambani for long, Moi during Moi's rule. So he was a minister 90s paka up around 2000s. He was in the government. But then one wonders why in Ukambani kumekuwa na shida ya maji all those years, and he was the president's favored person in Ukambani, but all those years hakukuwa na maendeleo Ukambani sana. That is an argument that people want to believe in. Like for example, issue ya Western na Musalia Mudavadi, the same, so many. Of course, Nyanza, they were always in opposition, so we don't expect anything. But for example, Western, Musalia Mudavadi was in the government for all those periods that Kalonzo Musyoka was in the government, but zero development. That's why Orengo is telling us that hii katiba tuko nayo sahi ni the best, but must be implemented. It's a tough one, but must be implemented. So, ladies and gentlemen, just go below in the comment section and tell us what to think about the statement from James Orengo. I cannot be a member of your choir. That is the message. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until we catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.